Hi, Eric. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great, Alan.
Hey, I want to talk to you about belonging, your series belonging, because you're doing something technologically that is exciting and something that indie filmmakers haven't. You know, I always like to say, the gap between indie filmmakers and the big studios is shortening every day, and I think belonging is a proof of that. But tell me about the series itself, and then we can talk about how it was made.
What do you want to know?
Well, well, tell me the story, or tell me what belonging is, and then we'll talk about how it was made. So,
Yeah, so
what's the basic idea behind the belonging? It's a series, right?
yeah, it's a limited series. We have 10 episodes. They're short. They run 5 to 7 minutes each, and uh, they're all produced using something called performance capture, which is where we suit up, with a helmet and gloves, and then we capture the actors' performances, but then they translate to a digital skin and a digital environment. So every one of these episodes addresses a different kind of emotional characteristic related to the world of belonging and how we connect to each other as human beings.
No, great. Yeah, and I got to see it. It's very good. I mean, you wrote most of the monologues, and you perform most of the characters, with the exception of a few. Am I correct?
That's right. That's right. We were able to use a couple of Shakespeare pieces, a Tennessee Williams, a Eugene O'Neill, and then the other six were brand new scripts. Nikki Levy and I crafted those together.
Okay, so let's talk about how it's made, because the idea of motion capture, we've certainly seen our fair share of the big studio productions or use of motion capture, and we're talking about not just body movements, we're also talking about facial expressions, facial movements. Um, what? Well, let's start with some of the technicals. What equipment did you use to do it?
Yeah, so in order to capture the performance out of a living human being or any other animal, people wire up dogs and cats and horses and things like that. There's a suit, and the suits that we used for this production were made by a company called Movella. They're X-Sense suits, and they have inertial sensors in them instead of cameras that pick up dots. So you could be anywhere, indoors, outdoors. And then there's a pair of gloves made by Manus. We use the Manus Prime gloves. And then there's a helmet with a camera on the front to capture the, the faces of the actors. And we used a couple of different ones. Faceware was one of our sponsors. And there was another set of helmets made by a friend of mine, Babak Baheshti.
Mhm.
So, and then all of that, that's just what goes on the body, right, and captures it. But then we have microphones because it's truly the actors' voices going through, and it runs into a system. The faces run through a system called Faceware. The same people who make the helmets. And then it goes into Unreal Engine, which was a gaming platform, turns into a cinematography platform.
Mhm.
And that's how we basically take the actors and put them in digital wardrobe and digital makeup is the way I like to think of it.
Yeah. Well, most of our audience at Film Threat were, indie filmmakers and fans of indie film, and after seeing Belonging, it was like, okay, there was that sense of, all right, I think, the idea of using motion capture, facial capture, is no longer exclusive to the studios. Is it truly off the shelf, or are we getting to that point? How did you hook up with the people who helped you, at least with the technical parts of belonging?
Yeah, well, the short answer is yes. This is available to everybody. The tools are not, relatively not expensive. Unreal Engine is free. The face capture stuff that Unreal provides is free. We used Faceware, which was fairly low cost. You can get set up with suits and gloves and helmets for very low cost. And if it's a person who's a filmmaker and wants to learn how to do this, go take classes with CG Pro And, in just a few weeks, you can learn how to start making these things and put in lights and camera. And no longer do we have to worry about the magic hour being, 20 minutes long. You can put the sun wherever you want and hang it there all day long.
You can have 3 of them if you want.
Exactly right. On any planet, anytime, anywhere. So the democratization of filmmaking is absolutely is now. I mean, we made this. We started our film festival run a year ago, so last summer, and we produced it over the year before that. So these tools are available, and in fact, this was an exploration to see, because what mattered to me as an actor was not the technology, right? That's cool, but as an actor, what was important to me was, can we perform the way that we know how to perform, which is not paying attention to what we look like or how our lips move or does our body do the thing. It's about feeling real feelings inside and connecting with our scene partners authentically, as real people, just in a phase shifted reality. Can we do that? And would it translate through this digital skin to actually touch, move, and inspire audiences? And that
Yeah.
was our exploration. And the feedback that we're getting from audiences is that, yeah, people feel the feelings that we want them to feel when they see live action stories.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, let's. So the question I have is the genesis of this
Yeah.
was it I guess for a lot of indie filmmakers it's the I want to tell a story but I don't have the money or the resources necessary to do that. Was it were you feeling that way and then stumbled across the motion capture technology, or was it kind of you found the technology and the blue skies just opened up at that point?
Well, the story goes back a little bit for me, Alan, because I lived my life as a tech entrepreneur. I mean, I grew up in musical theater and did all of that, singing, dancing, and then I went off and became an entrepreneur, and I ran tech companies and I did patent licensing and all these things. And it was always a dream of mine to get back into acting, and performance capture was really inspiring to me. And Andy Serkis has been a huge hero, and primate work just really drew me in. And I had sold my last company, went back to school in conservatory, and then I graduated and I was ready to, go out and audition and do things, and the pandemic hit. So it was really this yearning to be connected with others, to be in performance, to make things happen. But here we were all locked in our homes. So, one friend led to another friend, led to Damian Gordon at DreamWorks in the time, connected me up with these companies, built a home studio, connected up with directors around the world. It was like, hey, we can make movies without leaving our homes, and none of us have to be in the same place at the same time. Let's try it.
Yeah. So okay, so you bring up the philosophical aspect of it now, but it is that question of should we? I see the SAG after strong banner in the back. It's because AI is a thing, or AI is a point of contention here. And even though you know I don't think you're anywhere near the controversy that AI is. Was there ever a conversation about, well, should we be replacing real actors? Or to me, it more felt like, um, I think the use of motion capture is a way to kind of open up creativity and open up, another form of storytelling. Have you had these kind of discussions?
We've had a lot of these discussions. And so let's set the record straight.
Yeah.
I'm a union actor,
Yep.
right? I got my SAG number back in 1975 when I was in Annie Hall. So I've been, aligned with the union for a very long time. I've voted for the strike, both the theatrical and TV strike that we have going on, as well as the interactive strike for game making. And game making is very much like the way we made
Hmm.
this series. Um, we are not we're not involved. There is no AI involved in this, and we are not replacing actors. What we're doing is allowing actors to have more flexibility in their wardrobe and makeup and settings. I mean, behind you is Richard II, and he's on this phenomenal cinematic set, with a burning castle, and we shot that in my home studio. Here's the Tennessee Williams. Every one of these pieces is in a completely different world. Some of them we took Barone from Rosaline in Love's Labor Lost and set it into the future in a scene you might recognize from Star Wars. Every one of these is in a fabulous place that we didn't have to go to. We didn't have to spend money on those sets. So where we saved money is in scouting and in going to real world places and getting the rights to shut down a city street so that we could shoot.
Yeah.
But what we didn't skimp on was actors, right? This is a SAG signatory project. We're actually under the interim agreement, which adheres to every one of the demands that we have against AMPTP right now. So we're not replacing actors with AI. We're not using AI to simulate a person that we know or a voice that we know, nor are we scanning likenesses and then saying, "Oh, we can use that forever now." Everyone that was designed against here is limited to this project. So I feel like this is a work that shows how you can leverage these tools, get a lot of bang for the buck, but still do the right thing when it comes to compensation and equity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing, why this is not AI is because AI can't recreate, um, human expression
Yeah.
in the detail that you have,
Yeah.
and in the uniqueness of each individual person. And that's why you have all these dots on your face, and a camera in front of it to
Yeah.
capture, the small facial movements that is almost impossible to animate on your own. And
And
so,
we don't really, as actors, we don't even know what they are. Like if we paid
Mhm.
attention to when on with our eyes, we'd not be present as people. We'd be paying attention to performance and the way it
Yeah,
looks. And instead, when we feel a feeling, these things happen. So if I generate a memory, of something moving, a thing occurs in me chemically, and my face automatically does what it does. And so that
yeah,
camera picks that up. Or if I generate a memory of distaste or anger um, or longing or whatever it is, those things they like rise up from our root through the body and they flush us with electricity and chemicals and aliveness, and then it comes out through the face. That's what people want to see in
Mhm.
theaters and on TV. We don't want to see robots.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always tell people that, an actor is more than just a body on a stage moving somewhere and reciting dialogue.
Yeah.
It's more holistic, and there's much more said in your facial expressions than the words that come out of your mouth.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and honestly, I can't imagine AI ever being able to replicate that. It can copy it, but I don't think it naturally. I
Yeah.
don't think it has the ability to have the natural instincts to do that. But
And
then
look,
again, maybe I'm naive.
yeah, like who knows, right? But I think what we yearn for as audiences is connecting with other people. And when we connect with actors who are embodying like a phase shifted reality as we've come into another being, that's a relationship through the actor through the screen and the audience to the screen. We have synergy, and that's the beauty of storytelling. What we pass on and how we touch each other like that. Yeah, that's why it matters to be able to
Mhm.
tell stories as humans.
Yeah. So let's talk about the project specifically.
You bet.
From script to screen, what were some of the challenges you faced that I mean, I can't imagine it was, oh yeah, we got the backgrounds, we got the actors, the puppets. and the technology. What were some of the challenges you faced to meld them all together?
Oh man, I mean, doing a project that's cutting edge tech is exciting and dangerous and horrifying, all at once sometimes. When we did the previs, uh, I was in the middle of shooting the Taylor Sheridan series 1883. And so I had all this beard scruff that I couldn't shave off, even if I could get back here from, the Wild West. I couldn't clean off my face. And we were working with this phenomenal studio in Australia, Fika Entertainment, who was doing our previs face capture work. And we just got garbage. It doesn't work with the beard as much as we tried. So we learned a lot about how to make that better.
So did you have to work through it then, or did you have to?
We had what we did is we used the previs stories to develop the rest of the environments and the character wardrobe and the camera choices and the arc and things like that. And then once I wrapped, the 5 episodes I was on 1883, I cleaned up my face and we reshot the entire series.
Yeah. I mean, that's a common theme that we have with talking to indie filmmakers is planning is everything.
Yeah.
You just can't get on stage and wing it. You got to have, I imagine you had every shot down, every, where the cameras are going to be positioned.
That's an interesting thing, because I'm used to working, on film and TV. We know what our shots are, but in virtual production, which is the case for video games as well, it's like theater in the round. There's audience. There's the potential for audience everywhere around us, and we don't know who's looking at us from afar or close. So we need to perform like we don't know if it's a close or a mid or a wide. That's a challenge for actors because the work that we do, if it's a wide shot, we can move our body quite a bit. But if it's a tight shot, maybe all we can do is move our eyes just a little bit, right? So I hired 10 different directors. So a different director for every episode. It's important to have diversity of styles. So and to help get that, we had diversity of race and gender and ethnicity and sexual preference. So we really mixed it up, and everyone approached it differently. Some people approached it shot by shot, and they knew exactly what it was going to be. And then as actors, we knew what our movement profile would be. And others go for a full take and then another full take and maybe dial something in. That was exciting to be able to work with so many different styles of directors.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I didn't think about the idea that, it could be a stage play, and with the technology, you could literally have as many cameras angles as you need, and every camera in existence
Can constantly move.
Yeah, and lighting. Yeah, and but at the same time, there's that you as much as you can do a one shot. Sometimes to tell a story, you do want to break it down. Line by line.
Yeah, so there's some important environmental things because we're in a white room with nothing, right? Everything has to be experienced as if we're living in an alternate reality. That one that's behind you right there, I played both the father and the son. The son doesn't talk very much. The father basically monologues to his son. It's this coming out story, and so what we did is we set up a proxy of a car with like a Logitech steering wheel and pedals so that I was in motion as we were doing it. We played a wind noise into my ear so that I had to project a bit different because it was like we're in a ragtop car. And then we set a photograph of my son next to me so that we got the eye lines correct. We shot that. I say shot, but it's really captured that performance. But then we shot it with a local camera, put that on an iPad. I switched seats, and then we put the dad on the iPad, played him back, and then I played the son relating and interacting with the recording of the dad. And then all that data they take and put them back in
Yeah.
parallel right next to each other.
Yeah. I mean, because right there you're capturing the entire emotional performance,
Right.
and
right.
then being able to that. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty exciting stuff. So last question. So you've done this. What does the future hold for you, this project? And do was this a one shot deal, or do you see this kind of expanding and evolving down the line?
Well, as an entrepreneur, nothing's a one-shot deal.
Mm.
Everything is a door to another thing. I don't know what that is. We've been calling this season one to see what arises, see how people respond. Um, the responses that we're getting are like yours. People are very excited. They want to see more. And now that we're not in quarantine, the possibility to get more actors, more diverse actor base, longer scripts, stories that can run. This is pretty interesting. I'm not interested in being the producer. I really just want to be an actor. And the timing is funny, right? I mean, we're in the middle of a strike. We can promote this because we're aligned with the union. In our common demands, but I just signed on with a new manager right before the actor strike. I signed on with Susan Ferris at Bohemia Group, which is very exciting as a way to take this, brand new acting career for me to the next level. And then there haven't been any auditions, nothing's going on. So my focus is getting this out the door, getting it into people's hearts, and working with the union to get our demands met. Let's get through this really important time in history, and then we can figure out what's next.
Yeah. I mean, it from our perspective, it's like, we support the indie filmmaker, and as much as there's a great pot of gold at the end of the Hollywood rainbow, sometimes it's like, well, maybe Hollywood is not always necessarily the goal.
Yeah.
And there's certainly advantages to being part of the system,
Mm-hmm.
but like we said here, that gap, that chasm between indie filmmakers and the Hollywood studio is it's coming together, and quite rapidly, and that's what excites me about what you're doing. So thank you for talking to me. This is exciting. And the reason I wanted to talk to you was just explore the possibilities, and say to other filmmakers, here's a tool available to you, and it truly is available to you, and now it's up to you to kind of dream what you can do with it.
Exactly right. And look, and here's the proof. Like we have released just this week internationally on Apple TV
Mhm.
without a dollar from any large studio, right? They didn't buy it. We're
Yep.
self-distributing, but we just released in Australia, in Canada, in Ireland, and the UK, and in the US coming next week for pre-sales. And then it'll be live to stream on October 5th. So this path, for people who are thinking about doing it, like, yeah, you can get on a real platform at low cost, making high quality work that touches audiences.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for talking with me. This is great, and good luck to Belonging. How can we see Belonging?
Yeah, so Apple TV, you can, like I said, internationally, you can get pre-sales, and by the time people are watching this, it'll be available in the US on Apple TV for pre-sales, and available to stream for purchase or rent starting on October 5th.
Okay,
And
amazing.
and if you want to catch a trailer right now, go to Hyperwatt, HYPERWATT.com. And that's our project site.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks, Eric.
Alan.